So, let's talk about robots. Today, we're going to trace the incredible history of robotics, and it's a journey that starts way before you might think, not with circuits and steel, but with ancient myths. It's a story that leads all the way up to the intelligent, autonomous machines we see all around us, and it's really all about our centuries-old dream to create artificial life.
But before we go way back, let's start with a really basic question that kind of frames this whole thing. What exactly is a robot, anyway? Believe it or not, the answer has changed dramatically over time, and that evolution is exactly what we're here to unpack.
And this slide just perfectly illustrates the huge scope of our story. I mean, on the one hand, you've got Talos, this mythical giant made of bronze from Greek legends, literally built to guard an entire island. And on the other hand, a real-world robot just doing its job, autonomously sorting packages. From pure imagination to practical, everyday machine. That's the incredible leap we're going to cover. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning, with that ancient dream. This is where that fascination with creating artificial life really took hold, showing up in these incredible stories and, some surprisingly clever mechanical gadgets. These early automata, and that's basically just a fancy word for self-operating machines, were absolute marvels for their time. But here's the key thing. They weren't true robots. Their whole purpose was to mimic life. You had the legends of Talos, mechanical servants in ancient China, and even these wild steam-powered theater shows from Hero of Alexandria. They were all about creating a convincing illusion of life. So, this leads us into the next era, a time of cogs and real curiosity. This is where the focus starts to shift. It's not just about mimicking life anymore. It's about actually understanding and mastering the complex mechanics that make things move and function. And this timeline shows a really crucial evolution. You've got these beautiful, intricate machines from inventors like Al-Jazari and even sketches from Da Vinci from Mechanical Knight, but then you get something truly revolutionary, Jacquard's loom. By using punch cards to control weaving patterns, it introduced the idea that a machine could be programmed. This was a game changer. For the very first time, information, just holes in a card, was telling a complex machine what to do. That concept is the bedrock of all modern software and robotics. And all that groundwork brings us right to the 20th century. This is where the word, the concept, and the actual reality of the robot finally collide. A play gives it a name, and an incredible invention finally gives it life.
And here it is. The word robot itself, it actually comes from the Czech word robota, which basically means forced labor or drudgery. It was first used in a play from 1920 called RUR, which was all about artificial workers who eventually rise up against their human masters. So right from its birth, the idea of the robot was tied up with work, efficiency, and maybe a little bit of anxiety about machines replacing us.
So once the name was out there, the very next step was to take the robot from the theater stage and put it onto the factory floor. This moment marks the true birth of the industrial robot, a shift that would change manufacturing forever. You're gonna want to remember this year, 1961. Think about it. The space race is in full swing. There's this incredible technological optimism in the air. Well, 1961 is the year that science fiction officially became industrial fact. And this is the machine that did it, the Unimate. It was the world's very first industrial robot, developed by George Devol and Joseph Engelberger. It was installed in a General Motors plant to do the dangerous, repetitive stuff humans hated, like welding hot metal. It was precise, it was tireless, and it was incredibly efficient. The Unimate didn't just do a job, it kicked off a whole revolution in how we make things. But, of course, a revolution not big wasn't gonna stay locked up in a factory. In the late 20th century, robots started venturing out into our world in some really spectacular and also some surprisingly familiar ways. This table gives you a fantastic snapshot of that expansion. We sent them to other planets with the Sojourner rover on Mars. We brought them into the operating room to help surgeons perform miracles. And yeah, we even welcomed them into our homes to vacuum the floors. The robot was no longer just some industrial tool. It was really becoming a part of our lives. And that brings us to today, and to what is probably the single biggest shift in robotics since the Unimate first fired up. We are now in the age of autonomy, and it's all being fueled by the incredible power of artificial intelligence. This slide contrasts the two eras perfectly. Your classic industrial robot on the left, it's a master of repetition. It follows instructions perfectly in a very controlled environment. But the AI-powered robot on the right is a whole different ballgame. It can perceive its environment.
it can adapt to change, and, this is the big one, it can actually make decisions. It's designed to operate in the messy, unpredictable real world.
And we see this new intelligence everywhere now. You have these foundational humanoid robots like Asimo that just blew our minds with their mobility. There's social robots like Sophia that can actually hold a conversation. And of course, there are autonomous cars and delivery drones becoming more common every single day. They're now vital tools in everything from farming and defense to disaster relief.
So, when you look at the whole story, our journey has taken us from building simple tools that just follow our commands to creating something much more profound. We're building partners that can perceive, learn, and make decisions all on their own.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final, pretty massive question to think about. As these incredible machines keep evolving from just being tools into becoming intelligent partners, what does that mean for the future of our work, our society, and for humanity itself?